Hello, hello. It is our happy half hour Friday. I'm Kelsey with Shipwreck Beads, and I am here actually from my little green area in my kitchen. It has been a week, let me tell you. I have had a week. I was sick yesterday, started feeling sick on Wednesday, and then today, you know that feeling when you just don't quite, you're not sick, but you don't quite feel better, and you just kind of feel blah. Like, that's how I felt today. So I ended up leaving work a little bit early, and so here we are. I'm still gonna make some jewelry. Figure make something pretty. Oh, I need to get my hair out of my face. Make something pretty, and maybe that'll help lighten the mood. I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but it is so hot here. I think it's in the 90s. Let's find out. It is bum, ba, da, bum. That's not right. 90 degrees. 90. In Washington, in Olympia. That's horrible. So anyways, I wanted to talk today about earrings, and specifically a tool that is really awesome, and it's one of my favorite new tools. It's called the One-Step Looper. The One-Step Looper by Beadsmith comes in 3 different sizes. So we've got the 2mm size. And this is the original, so I'm not sure if the handles are still the same color. They might be. So they might look a little different than that. Yeah, it is way too hot, Simone, and welcome. We've got the 2.25mm loop size and the 3mm loop size. So rather than doing a whole lot of talking, let's go ahead and just get started playing around with some beads. So, and also for the looper, or not for the looper, for the heat, I've got my little desk fan here, and that is doing wonders. Mary Joy, what are you saying here? I love my looper, but I don't have trouble with it not cutting. You know, I have found that with the thinner gauge wires, it doesn't always work as well. Welcome, Jason. We're actually not doing doing an event or anything, but we are having a great sale on our website and in store all weekend, 20 to 60% off everything on the website. So that is one thing you can look forward to if you do come in to visit our store while you're in town for the canoe journey. For those who don't know, the canoe journey is a Native American ceremony where they go, I believe, from Alaska down through the Puget Sound, and it's a ceremonial thing where, and again, I wish I could tell you more about it, but it's a big event this weekend, and so we've got our staff, we've got extra staff ready at the store for all the extra people who might be coming by because of that. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and angle you down towards my bead mat. So I don't know if you caught my last video, but you may have heard me say that I'm a little obsessed with plants. Well, you saw some of my plants behind me. So first off, I'm going to show you just the different tools and how they work. For the beads that I have, I've just pulled some random mixes. We get from the Czech Republic some really cool, and also from India. I don't have any of those mixes to show today, but we'll do something with those later. Hi Valerie, welcome. So I've got some of these great bead mixes, so we're just going to play around with these and throw together some earrings. So look at this pack is one of my favorites because it's got all kinds of pearly blues, some funky shapes. A lot of these beads that come in these mixtures are not things that we necessarily sell in our general stock. So that's one thing to keep in mind, and one of the great things about the mixtures is you never really know what you're going to get as far as what could be in here. Look at the size of that dagger bead. But yeah, so a lot of these beads aren't beads that we carry. They just happen to wind their way into the mixture. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to pull out, how about these red beads? And I'll do all the same bead just so you can see the difference. So the way the looper works is you're going to string your bead onto your head pin. Very, very simple. Now let's see if I can do this. sorry about that. So you're going to slide your head pin in there, so like over the tooth, and there's a hole on the side, and you want to go out the hole. Okay, then you're going to want to line your bead up. You want to get it pretty close, but not right exactly on, because if you're too close, if your bead's too close to the little tooth here, sometimes you can experience breakage on your beads. My turquoise and red necks. Oh, thank you. These were actually made, again, with some of the mixtures that we carry. This is the India Opaque mixture. And I have the most fun digging through the mixtures that we carry. I think one of the projects I'd like to do next week is just opening up a bag of one of these mixtures and seeing what they end up looking like. So as you maybe noticed while I was talking, I squeezed the pliers shut, and that went ahead and cut off the end of the wire. Now before I let it go, I'm going to take my bead and just very gently sort of give it a push back, and that's what's called breaking the neck. And then you have your loop. Now you'll notice it does leave a slight gap. However, I don't believe that to be too much of a problem, because most of the time you're going to be connecting these loops to something. So it's a good idea to have a little bit of an opening there that you can just slide, connect it to whatever. Oh, works on the snowflake forms. I wouldn't have thought to try that. Yeah, the looper tool is amazing. My daughter, she's 10, for her like 4th grade project, they all did this marketplace. And each of the students had a partner, and they got to decide what they wanted to make. And she made jewelry, and she made a ton of earrings using the looper. She's 10. If a 10-year-old can use it, anyone can use it. These things are incredible. So all I did here was just pinch it shut, and then you have your loop closed. Super simple. But let's take a look at what these other sizes look like as well. Oh, that's my... All right, so now we're going to try out the 2.25 millimeter. Again, you're going to put it in through there. Put that bead right up against the tooth. Squeeze. And I don't know if it's actually called the tooth. No, Kaylin, you can use the looper on any wire. It's actually great if you have a spool of wire and you're trying to whip out a bunch of eye pins. You could use that on just regular wire as well. And I actually brought a spool of wire, so I'll show you how to do that. And on the packaging for the looper, it tells you how to do it if you're trying to make just eye pins. So here we go. So I've got my bead and wire all together, and now I'm going to give it a quick turn back called breaking the neck, and that will just cause your head pin to stand up straight. And there's my loop in it. This one's a little crooked, and you know what, that's okay. I can always take my pliers again and then just pinch it shut. A huge time saver. You're gonna get consistent loops every single time, which is awesome, because I know a lot of times, even though it's called the simple loop, it's one of the harder techniques to learn and to perfect. So to have a tool that's going to give you nice, perfect loops every single time, not only is it a time saver, but it saves your hands from doing all the work of turning all those loops. I remember when it first came out a couple years ago, I was really hesitant about it, because it's like, it's a simple loop. I've got round nose pliers, I've got cutters. I don't need another expensive tool to do it for me. And then a coworker of mine, she's one of our buyers. This is the 3 millimeter. She was making this really cool bracelet, and she had done and it was a sort of a charm bracelet with just beaded dangles all around the whole thing. And she had done part of it by hand, maybe gotten a quarter of the way through, got back to the store the next day and was like, you know what, my hands hurt, I'm going to try this looper out. She ended up cutting off all of her old loops and redoing them with the looper, because it was so fast, so simple. She was able to finish her project the next night. even after cutting off and having to redo that whole portion of that she had done by hand. So it is a really great tool. When it first came out, my biggest complaint was that it made loops too small. Because a loop this small is great if you're just going to connect and make links. It's good for making chain and stuff like that. But if you're trying to connect it to a commercial finding, that loop may be a little too small. So then they heard the cries and answered off topic. What is my tattoo? I actually have 2 tattoos. So I've got this one, my 3 goose tracks. I call my daughter Goose and always have since she was born. And so that's what that tattoo is there, for my goose. And then this tattoo, my husband and I got for our anniversary this year. We started dating on September 11th, 1999, so that's that part. And then we were married on December 22nd, and then it all happened in Olympia, Washington. So that's what that one means. Both my tattoos have great meaning for me. So I don't know if this is just the original version of the 3mm looper, and if they've actually made some changes to the new one. I've had this one in my office for a long time, but it doesn't quite close the loop all the way. Yeah, you're welcome, Carrie Lynn. Thanks for asking. But I really I think for everyday use, if you're going to be using something with commercial findings, where you're going to be making maybe chandelier earrings, which is something we'll take a look at here in just a few moments, that the 2.25 is a good size, because sometimes the original is just a little too small. If you're interested in picking up one of the loopers, everything on our website is 20 to 60% off. I'm not sure what the discount is on the looper itself, but it is at least 20% off. So that's something that's pretty awesome. And if you're a newsletter member, then you can get free shipping on your order. So make sure you're a newsletter member, because that's a pretty great deal. Free shipping. All you got to do is provide your newsletter number. So again, so there's the loop. So let's see the 3 different sizes here. All right, so let's go ahead. I sort of pulled, because I knew I was coming home, so I pulled just sort of a whole bunch of different things that I thought I might need or whatnot. So let's just see what I got here. So let's open up. These are a bright silver plated brass pendant with a flower motif. But I think that this would look really nice with some little bits hanging from it. Yeah, thanks, Carolyn. Yeah, it's a pretty great job. I'm pretty excited about it. All right, so what color should we work with? Let's see. How about some of these pearls? Blue pearls. Alrighty. So I want to use some of these nuggety shapes. So these guys here, that might be my center. And then maybe do those on the outside. I don't know, what do you think about, oh, that's really hard to see the silver. Something like that. We'll just start with something real simple. All right, so one thing I like to do to be able to sort of streamline the process, because it is so fast to do, is I will load up all of my beads onto head pins right at the get-go. Because that way when I get my looper tool out, I can just bam, 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 bam real fast and knock them all out. So I think I need a smaller one of those. also have some eye pins here. The eye pins already have the loop made. However, if you want to make sure that your loops are consistent on each side, you can try using wire. This is a little bit thinner gauge. You want to work with a 20 gauge, 21 gauge. Anything smaller than that, you might have a problem with it curling. All right, so let's see, how do we want to make this loop here? Nope, that's not it. All right. So if you were just to make your own eye pins, you just do it like that, and then you trim them however you like. So again, this is a 20, what size is this? This is a 22 gauge wire, and it's a little bit too thin. See how it kind of doesn't quite hold the shape as well? Yeah, you can always make your own eye pins. But I actually have some pre-made here, so that saves me the trouble. You can always buy them too. And there is no shame in that game. Okay. So I don't know if you caught my blog post the other day with the Silk and Sparkles multi-strand bracelet, but all these beads that I'm using here today are beads that are left over from that project. And I figured, why not? They were sitting in my office. Why not use them up? All right, so we're going to use the 2.25 loop and or looper. And when you stick that in, when you're using the eye pin, you want to try and make sure that the eye is parallel to where the loop is going to be made, because otherwise you're going to just have to adjust it later with your pliers, which isn't a problem, but you can save yourself that step by making sure your eye pin's lined up. So again, you're going to make sure that that bead's right up against that tooth, squeeze all the way, break the neck, and see, with all that talking about getting the loops lined up, oh, that's really funny. Apparently it does it the opposite direction. So I had this loop lined this way and it made my loop sideways anyways, which isn't a hard problem to fix. Grab with one side, grab with the other, twist, just like that. I'm not going to close that loop up yet because I'm going to attach that to my earring finding here, and then I'm going to pinch it shut. Now, because the loop was already open, you don't have to do the loop trick, you know, always like this, never like this. But because the loop already had a gap in it, you just kind of have to pinch it shut. So there's the first little dangle on there. But like I said, I like to streamline things, so I'm just going to go ahead and make the rest of these loops, and then we'll get to connecting them. These do not want to come off there. It's one thing that's great about chain nose pliers. You know, Valerie, they're not new. I think they've been discontinued on our site. We did carry them a couple years ago, and they're the set I use at home. When I'm at work, I use the gun handle grips, but I bought these a while ago, and I don't think we still carry them. You can check on our website, but I don't think that we still carry them. One thing I will apologize for, if I ever do use discontinued product that we have, as you can imagine, being our on-site designer, I amass quite the collection of samples and tools and random things that just get dumped in my office. So if I ever do happen to use something that's discontinued, I'll always try and recommend something that's similar. But I think what's most important in these videos is the techniques and learning new projects and the inspiration and getting to share with all of you. So that's what's most important to me. But these tools are really fun, and they actually have like a foamy grip handle too, so they're pretty comfortable to use. But again, I gotta say, I still love my gun handle grip pliers. Those are still my favorite. Note to self, find my office. Are you local, Carrie Lynn? You know, I don't know if they are anti-tarnish. I think they have a coating. I know they are coated because I've mushed them up, but actually, you know what? I think maybe they are anti-tarnish because these ones here, this is a super old project that's like 3 years old, and these have just been sitting in a bag and they're not tarnished. So I'm going to say yes, that they are anti-tarnish. And this is another piece that I did a long time ago where I just used the vintage patina paints. I hope we still carry this little flower. I don't know if we do or not. Okay, back to making our loops. It's easy to fall in love with our store. So for those of you who haven't been there, you can always check out our location page on our website, which has the live Google tour. Well, it was live when it was posted. It's not live anymore. But you can go on and take a tour of our store. It's a full 360-degree view of our showroom. And I gotta say, even though I've been in our showroom, that video is pretty incredible. We even have the largest or the longest strand of beads, and we're in the Guinness Book of World Records because of it. So that's something that's pretty cool, I think. So I don't know if it's just the gauge of pin I'm using, but these keep getting stuck on here. And I don't know why. Wyoming turned silver black. They are not sterling, so I can tell you that. But one of the loopers and keep breaking beads. So Sherry, what kind of beads are you using with your looper? One thing I've noticed in my experience is that smaller crystals and smaller like gemstones. So crystals. Okay. Yeah, I've had a lot of problems with cracking on the crystals if you get too close. So you just kind of have to experiment with that and find your happy medium. I have noticed that the smaller crystals, like anything smaller than 6 millimeter, is more prone to breakage. So you do need to watch out for that. And, you know, maybe sometimes on those smaller loops, maybe just go back to your hand looping. But yeah, the small crystals, I'm not surprised. So just leave yourself a little bit more space. And if you don't like the look of having that little space on your head pin, then you're just going to have to go back to original loops. And as great as these tools are, you know, they do have some faults. Soft turquoise. I've had some pearls break on me using them. Yeah, just a little hair. For a lot of my jewelry, though, I tend to do wrapped loops as well. So that's another option too. But yeah, you got to be real careful with those small crystals because they are definitely more prone to breakage. All right, so we made all of our loops here, and let's go ahead and get to connecting them. Again, with that little opening there, you're just going to slide it on to your previous link and then pinch it shut. Sometimes it's hard with the head pins because they want to spin. So what I do is, you can't really tell, but I'm holding it and I'm putting pressure on the center of the pin there. Woo. And so that'll keep it from twisting. So there's one link. Now let's get the rest of these on here. So one thing to consider when you're making earrings and things like that, especially if you're going to be selling your jewelry, is you want to be consistent as far as the directions that all of your loops and holes and everything face. It's little details like that can set you know, professional jewelry apart from just being, you know, handmade, if that makes sense. Not to just say anything bad about handmade, because that's not my point there, but. So there's that. Now let's go ahead and get this other one set up. But you can see how easy these loopers are to use. I mean, they're really very simple. Oh, I was not as gentle with that one as I should have been, and I bent it out of whack. All right. So what does everybody have plans to do this weekend? I know I will be trying to stay cool, which will be a little tough because I've got a lot of gardening to do. I just bought some lavender plants that I need to put in the ground, and I think I'm gonna I've mentioned before that we purchased our house in April, and so we're, you know, trying to clean up the garden and get things sort of the way we want, and it's been a process, as those things will do. But we keep finding, apparently from what we learned from the neighbors, the woman who lived here before us was a very avid gardener. So we're finding all kinds of hidden gems in our, and of course the house was vacant for a while. And so we're finding all kinds of hidden gems as we pull weeds and clean things up and make new resin and work with your bead loom. What kind of bead loom did you get, Brandy? Have you tried the new, or I guess it's not really new anymore, but have you tried the Rick's beading loom yet? Maybe that's one we'll have to demo. That's a little bit longer of than a 30-minute video though. But I've always been intimidated by loom work, and I actually got a chance to meet Paul Ricks of the Rick's Beading Loom a couple years ago, because he was in town and he taught some classes with us, and this was right when the loom first came out. And I'd always been really intimidating, but that it really made it a lot easier to use, and it's not quite as intimidating. So maybe I do have a post on the blog, which you can find a link to via our website, with the Desert Diamond bracelet. So if you are interested in taking a look at something in the time being, since we don't have a video up for that, then you can take a look at that on our blog. It's Loose Ends Craft Blog, and that's the Desert Diamond bracelet. Sorry, I had to take a drink. This is raspberry apple cider from a local cider mill that I got at the store today, and it looks kind of awful. It looked really good in the bottle, and then I dumped it out and added ice, and it kind of looks like something a vampire would drink. I don't know. Yeah, it's 90. Yeah, just apple cider, raspberry apple cider. That's why it's that color. Apple cider's not normally that color. It's kind of a little crazy. 110? Where do you live, Brandy? And when are you moving? Because, oh my goodness, 110. I can't even imagine. My husband went to the store for a sprinkler the other day and brought home one of those pools. Yeah, brought home a pool. One of those sort of glorified kiddie, Arizona. Glorified kiddie pools, and it's got a filter, and it's all fancy and whatnot, and he's real proud of himself, and I think I might go take a dip after this video's over. You just moved to Arizona, huh? What brought you to Arizona? Of course, I guess you guys have AC everywhere, so 110 probably isn't that bad unless you leave the house. All right, so I went ahead and added a link to the top of this just because I kind of like the way that it looks better. All right, come on, you. Be too rough with it when you're trying to take it off of here, but you can end up bending the wire too much, which is what I just did. Time for a new beginning. I hear that. All right, now I'm thinking we should add got these really pretty ear wires here. So for something like these, because the loop on this, you can see how the loop face, and you can see the loop here on the earring faces the same direction. So we would either need a jump ring to connect it, but I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this loop here at the top. So I'm going to hold the bottom of the loop because I don't want that part to twist. And I'm going to take the top of my pliers, or a second set of pliers, and then twist that. And then now my loop is facing the right direction for the pair of earrings. Sharon, are you talking about the loopers? They're really easy to use. They're way easier than making loops by hand. But there is some tricks to getting it right, as there are with any type of new tool or gadget. So we'll go ahead, and after I finish this pair of earrings, we'll play around. Maybe we'll just make a little bit of beading chain, and we can sort of experiment and see how that all works out. So, ooh, these earrings are so pretty. Don't you think a self-respecting mermaid would love these? So simple. And all of these beads just came out of this box, and I think this box of beads runs about $3 or $4. And so this is 125 grams, and we've got all kinds of different mixtures. If what you make is earrings, I can't talk enough about how great the earrings are. Even for necklaces and bracelets, it's just such a fun, eclectic mix of things, and every mixture is different. Every time we get in the same mixture, it might end up being a little bit different. You never know what you're going to get. Just like Forrest Gump said about a box of chocolates, it's kind of true about a box of mixed beads too. Yes, there are the 3 different sizes of loopers. We've got the standard, which I believe is just the 2 millimeter. I've had this set here since they first came out. So the package, or so the look of them might be a little bit different. There's the 2.25, which we used to make these earrings. I wanted to use the 2.25 versus the original because sometimes, because the loop made with the original one, so that's this little loop here, is often too small to use with commercial findings. So it works really great. They all work really great. But the 2.25 is really good if you work with a lot of you know, earring components, things like that. If you're going to be connecting charms to dangles or that sort of application. Yeah, if you make rosaries, the looper tool is great for that. Absolutely, because if you're just making loop after loop after loop, the looper tool will save your life. And it also comes in a 3 millimeter, which is quite a large loop. But sometimes you need a big loop. And right now, 20 to 60% off everything on our website. So I don't know the exact discount on these guys, but they're going to be at least 20% off. And I think they would normally run $29.99 or $30 to $35. I'm not sure exactly. I really should look this stuff up before I start talking about the product that I'm selling. So the larger one does leave a slightly larger gap, but again, you can see it's a real big loop there. All right. So why don't we make a little bit of beaded chain? I'm going to start out using, I've got some eye pins. So half the work on this is already done. And what color chain should we make? Let's go with, how about these guys? Sparkles for Friday. So again, whenever I'm making a lot of different loops with my looper tool, I like to go ahead and string them all up each. Yeah, they're sold individually. They're not sold as a set. So I think, you know, for rosaries and stuff, where you're going to be making chains, maybe just connecting things to jump rings or straight to the earring wire, then the original looper is going to be a good tool for you. If you're going to be connecting things to commercial findings, you know, making chandelier type earrings, or if you're going to hang a charm from something, like say you wanted to have your little dangle and hang your charm, you're going to want to have a little bit larger loop, so you might want to go with the 2.25. It's a good middle size. I personally don't make a whole lot of large loops unless they're wrapped loops. So I don't know exactly what might be a good practical application for the 3mm one, because it does make such a large hole or a large loop. But I really like the 2.25 and the original, which I believe is just a straight up 2mm. So I went ahead and just did a few of these up. We're not going to make a huge long chain. This is just sort of to get an idea. So again, it is so easy to do. You put your wire through the tooth there, out the hole in the back, squeeze, break the neck, pop it off there, you're all done. And apparently that bead is done with me because I don't know where it went. So one thing that I don't like about the looper is how wide the grip is. It can be kind of tricky to get a good handle on it because it is a really wide grip. So that can be something that can be a little trickier for some people. But once you get the hang of it, like anything, everything comes together and it makes it so much easier to operate. Now sometimes that extra little nub of wire will get stuck in there, and you just kind of got to shake the plier around, wiggle it out. I teach a beading class at my daughter's school, and one of the projects, it's like a 6 weeks course, and I do dangles to leather cord or paracord. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, because then it would fit all the way around the... Good call. See, that's why I love having you guys here. You get to answer the questions for me. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start connecting our chain. So I've got all my little links made. And if there's enough of a gap, you can just pop that loop right in there. But sometimes you do have to open it up a little wider, in which case you're going to open it just like in a jump ring. So again, side to side, not back and forth. So that one's, this loop's a little small, so that's okay. So you always still want to keep your standard tools handy. Always have your chain nose. I can't speak enough for the chain nose. They're so great for when your fingers just can't fit and you need an extra small, tiny fingers. The chain nose pliers are great for that. So, all right, there is like, what is that? 2 inches of bead chain. Took us about 5 minutes to make, not even 5 minutes. So you can imagine if you do rosaries or things like that, how quickly something like this can come together. When you're using a tool like the looper. This thing's fantastic. I absolutely love it. And those of you who have it, I can see that you guys love it too. So it's definitely one you want to pick up. It's also great for making charm bracelets. So let's see if I've got a little piece of silver chain here. I didn't bring any clasps or anything, but I do have some chains. So this is a thicker chain, so we're, I don't know if that's what I want to use though. Let's see if I've got something else here. Because I kind of just rated the chain pile at our store. So any chain that sort of is like an off length that doesn't really go for our price breaks or whatnot, it just kind of gets thrown into a bundle, and then we sell it by weight in bulk. And so I rated some of the chain stash here so that we'd have some fun stuff to play with. So I'm just going to dump some random from this green bead mix. What time is it? How long have we been here? Oh, we should probably get finishing up here soon. I just love this looper tool and I just don't want to stop playing with it. Plus I've got this little fan here and I'm not as hot anymore, so it's kind of nice. So we'll just do something real quick just to show you how easy it is to make sort of a charm bracelet. And again, I'm going to use my 2.25. I don't know if this just got bent or something, but this wire keeps getting stuck on there. Oh, there we go. That's a trick. Have it slightly pressed in. All right, so I've just made 4 links really quick. Simone, I think next week one of the videos I want to do is I'm going to pull a couple different mixtures and we're just going to dig through them. What do you think about that? Just see what we can find in some of our bead mixtures, because there is some really great hidden gems, and I would love to show you what some of my favorite mixtures are. These ones obviously that I chose here, some of my favorites, but I love our India mixes. They're so cool. And actually this necklace here was made from our India mixes. I don't know if you can tell, but this bead here is sort of faceted. There's all sorts of like color variation in them. They're just they've got that very handmade sort of rustic look, and they're just a lot of fun to play with. They're great, again, for making earrings. So like, look at that little drop shape. Like you don't see that anywhere. Anyways, getting off track, and we're already at the like 45-minute mark here. So I don't want to keep you away from your Friday too much longer. So all I'm doing here with these links that I've made is I'm putting them directly onto the chain. And again, there is a little bit of a gap, so you just pinch it shut with your pliers. So that just took us a couple minutes, but I mean, you can imagine how it wouldn't take much longer to really make a full bracelet out of those. And how cool would that look? Just beads all the way around. Those are my favorite kind of bracelets to make, actually. I don't ever wear big jewelry, but I really love to make it, and giant charm bracelets are some of my favorite things to make. So, I mean, you could finish that up so quickly and have a really gorgeous looking bracelet. So there's just a couple of different options that you can, yes, we do have some great Swarovski mixes too. As far as value for your product, I think the mixes are fantastic, especially since there's so many cool different pieces that come in the mixes. Go ahead and tilt you back up we'll say our goodbyes for the weekend. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this little looper tutorial as much as I did teaching it. Again, it comes in 3 sizes. You can find it on our website, and I will go ahead and link it up when we're finished here. So we did sort of 3 little projects, 1 main project and 2 sort of secondary ones. So we made these earrings using the looper tool in the 2.25 size. We started off doing a beaded charm bracelet. This was also using the 2.25 size. And then we've got a piece of beaded chain that we started off, and this we just used the original looper tool on, using the smaller size loop. So those are some options that you can do using your own looper tool. And right now through Monday, everything on our website is 20 to 60% off. So you can get these tools for at least 20% off, maybe more. So hop on that right now. You don't want to miss out on those great deals because they don't come often. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.